Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to my YNR chat for Sunday, January 23rd. This is the all audio version of my chat. Yes, there's no video component this week, and I apologize deeply. I have had technical difficulties out the wazoo all week, from hardware problems to software problems. I can't even take a picture with my camera because my memory card is kaput. It's like problems just all happen at once, it seems. And I've just been like, I have not had access to the internet, so I almost missed my YNRs, and there are so many messages that I still need to respond to, and I'm really sorry if you're one of them. But oh my goodness, it's been craziness. But I didn't want to not chat about the show this week, so audio is something I can do, because it's been a pretty good week, and a lot has happened. For instance, did you know, you guys, that Phyllis is Daniel's mother? She's his mother. Phyllis is Daniel's mom. She's his mom, and Daniel is her son. Daniel is her son. I know this because she said it about 200 times this week. Daniel is her son, and she is his mother, okay? His mother. It was getting to the point of ridiculous how many times she said it. But it was nice to actually see those moments between Phyllis and Daniel this week. I enjoyed it. I think Phyllis is concerned about Daniel, rightfully so. She wants to get in there and try to make up for her failings, really. She's getting in there. She wants to make sure he's happy and well-fed, and she is embracing Abby in a way that she never did Amber. And on the one hand, I find that surprising, but on the other hand, as much as I loved Amber, I think Abby is acting more mature at this point than Amber ever did. I mean, you gotta hand it to her. She's there for Daniel. She is also copping to the mistakes that she made, you know? Apologizing to him for leaving him in the midst of all of this Daisy craziness instead of standing by him. And Phyllis is really feeling the same way. She's, bottom line, feeling guilty. Phyllis admitted this week that she was the one who set this entire chain of events with Daisy into motion. And I was glad that she said that. I was waiting to hear her say that, you know? She was also struggling with understanding why she did it, why she pursued this path with Daisy. And Phyllis is realizing how much she really had grown to want the baby, you know, as averse to the idea of being a grandmother as Phyllis was, there was also an instinct in her that wanted to protect the child. And Daniel had a really similar reaction to all of this. He resented the presence of Daisy in his life in every way. But as soon as she was gone, he was thinking about his child out in the world somewhere, not knowing if she was safe. And it was weighing on him hard. You could really tell that Daniel was struggling with it. Everybody was struggling with it. And meanwhile, Billy and Victoria are bonding with their new baby, bonding with her, buying her clothes, and naming her appropriately Lucy with the red hair. I thought that was really good. I loved the moment where they realized that was the name that they were going to give to her. And all week, I've been trying to figure out the significance of Daniel losing his memory. I'm thinking, why is it important that he remembers that he was the one that delivered Daisy's baby? And it never occurred to me that Daniel might actually recognize the baby. And I guess the question now, which I'm sure we'll find out next week, is does Daniel actually recognize the baby? Because just as he was recovering his memory, we started seeing flashbacks of the delivery. And Daniel said to Daisy that even though the baby was not conceived in love, that he had every intention of making sure that she went to a good family who would love her. So my question is, even if Daniel does recognize that the baby is his, will he say anything? Or will he keep it to himself, knowing that she is now in a loving home? I think that could be a really interesting plot twist, especially knowing that he is not in a place where he could be raising a child, but that Billy and Victoria are giving her a loving home with tons of support. Nick, and Abby all rushed over to share in Billy and Victoria's happiness as they announced that they had this new child. Jack and Ashley are on their way there. I mean, everybody is surrounding them with love and support. Everyone except Victor. Victor was not even invited to Victoria's house to share in the news. And I'm just so sick of this rift in the Newman family, especially between Victor and Victoria. The preview from For Monday's show shows that a scene between Victor and Victoria where Victor gets upset with Victoria when he learns about the baby. And I feel like this is just going too far. I have a hard time believing that Victor is this cold. I mean, I just don't believe that upon learning that Victoria has a new baby, Victor would stand there and yell at her and chastise her. I just... something needs a fix here. You know, the writers are making Victor into too much of a monster here, and I don't like it. Just throughout the years, I've always seen Victor as a hero, a dark hero, but a hero nonetheless. His methods may have been ruthless, but he always had redeeming qualities, I felt. And within the past, I don't know, 5 years, he's all villain. Everything he does is all villain. And I like a good villain as much as anyone else, but there has to be an element of redemption there that I'm just not seeing. You know, like Adam, he's a good villain. He has bad qualities and good qualities. But with Victor, it seems like lately it's all villain, and it's disturbing to me. I'm annoyed with it. I say, bring back Victor as a hero, YNR, and stop writing him as a zero. How is it that Sharon can sleep with Adam in the same bed that she slept with Nick? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for this couple. I like Adam and Sharon, but Adam living in Nick and Sharon's house is just weird. I'm surprised that Adam even wants to live on the ranch, to be honest with you. The knives are out. He narrowly escaped a very long prison sentence by Victor setting him up. So I can't imagine why he would want to be there. And if Sharon truly wants independence from Victor and Nick and the Newman bunch, then she should just sell the house and buy a new one in Genoa City, since she wants to be with Faith, but doesn't have to be right there on the ranch property. I can't believe that Victor hasn't hired a lawyer to somehow get Sharon thrown off of the property. Of course, then again, why stop at that when he could just get her thrown in jail? Goodness. So at the very end of Friday's show, some new evidence surfaced that pointed supposedly to Sharon murdering Skye. And it culminated in this scene at the athletic club where she got arrested, which I loved, by the way. It was very juicy. I was totally on the edge of my seat for that one. So what do you guys think that the new evidence is? It's hard to take a guess, but I kind of still feel like we never found out what happened to Sharon's camera. I don't think we saw it go over the cliff with Skye. So I still just have this feeling that camera is still out there unless I totally missed it. So I wonder if that could be it, or maybe the Hawaiian shopkeep that guy planted some evidence, or maybe he gave the police a misleading statement. Something. If he did, if the Hawaiian shopkeep guy is behind it, then Victor's fingerprints are all over it. And, I mean, before all of this happened, before Sharon got arrested, I kept thinking Nick's custody case was weak at best. I mean, Adam was never convicted of a crime, and you can't take a baby away from its mother because the father doesn't like who she's dating. And now it's a completely different story. With Sharon behind bars, Nick could easily appeal and win. And again, I really hate to see these circumstances where children are ripped away from their parents willy-nilly. But the one thing I will say in Nick's defense is that he seems to be genuinely concerned for Faith's safety. I believe that. I mean, part of me says, yes, Nick wants revenge. Nick has an ego, and he doesn't like that his ex-wife is dating Adam. But I also believe that Nick is concerned that Adam is going to be a bad influence on his daughter. And Nick has been a great dad throughout all of this mess. And by the way, he is adorable. Nick is really, I am warming up to Nick so much right now. He is so cute. His little curly hair. His hair is in a good place. They're dressing him well. I am totally into Nick right now. And I feel like Nick has really stepped it up. And he's been there. He's been a good dad throughout all of this mess that Sharon has gotten herself involved in. And as much as I like Adam and Sharon together, all Adam has done is cause her problems. You know? And now the roles are completely reversed. Sharon is in jail, and Adam is going to have to be the one to get her out of it. They're their only support system is each other. So Adam will have to be the one to get the evidence to get Sharon out of jail this time, which is funny. It's exactly the opposite position that we were in a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Of course, the only difference with this is Adam will find a way to prove that Sharon is innocent, and he will not be Mr. Nice Guy about it. I'm having a lot of fun watching Chloe and Kevin dodge Jana, and it's been funny. Even watching Esther run interference between Chloe and Kevin and Jana, it's just the whole thing has been really fun. And I thought that it was going to be a real downer watching Chloe and Kevin be ripped apart when all they really want to do is be together. But Y&R has made it very entertaining. And Greg Ricart is just a shining, charming star right now. I loved the scene of Chloe and Kevin sneaking out of the hospital and into a dark corner of the parking garage to make out in a car. That was just really cute. And they both wanted to go all the way, but they didn't want their first time to be in the car. And there was this moment between them where they were just going back and forth saying, you know, this is a bad idea, right? Right. You know, I mean, it was so cute. And also, Chloe sitting behind Jana in the theater, throwing popcorn at her. She's all incognito, and Kevin's, again, and the in-between guy. And best of all, Jana is coming on strong with Kevin back at the apartment. I mean, she was practically humping his leg. And he was squirming out of it. I mean, he got lucky because the phone rang in the middle of her practically licking him. And he says, this is work. I should take this. Hey, Cindy. And it was really Chloe on the other end. It was pure comedy gold, folks. That's what it was. Oh, and then he told Jana, this is the best part, that he's gender confused. And that's why he doesn't want to make out or make love to her. I mean, it's so good. It's just so good. And so it has so much character, this whole part of the storyline. The only thing that's hard to watch is how unappealingly desperate Jana is, because neediness and clinginess, despite realizing the fact that the other person doesn't want you, is just so unattractive. So unattractive. But on the other hand, when Jana was talking to her therapist this week, I also had a moment of really understanding her point of view, because when Jana was held hostage and locked in the cage, she clung to the idea of Kevin. And that idea of Kevin and faith in their relationship was the only thing keeping her alive. And then back at home, Kevin was being led to believe that Jana had left him. So he was already starting to adjust to the idea of letting her go while she was clinging desperately to this idea of him in order to stay alive. And then just as soon as they were reunited, I mean, literally moments after they were reunited, Jana had another aneurysm, and that caused her to lose her mind. She ran off with Ryder, which I totally supported at the time and I feel bad about. But, you know, the fact remains, Kevin never really did get a chance to know how much Jana missed him in those moments when she was being held hostage. So they never had that reunion point. You know, it was like a miscommunication all around. And I really think that they had a great relationship at one time and a really deep bond, but it just seems to be completely gone now, just beyond repair. And now all we have left before us are the two dilemmas that rattle the human skull. How do you hold on to someone who won't stay? And how do you get rid of someone who won't go? Trisha Cast as Nina is every bit as good as an Academy Award-winning actress. I mean, early in the week, she was begging Ronan to let her into his life, to let her help, and she had me in tears, you guys. Heather, not so much. Heather did basically the same thing. I had very little reaction. I just don't feel the heat there. Heather's like a piece of dry white toast. And Ronan is a hungry sex wolf. And they don't go together. They just don't go together. YNR, please stop pushing it. Heather got Ronan fired from the FBI. She came to his hotel room to apologize to him. She spilled her guts. And to her, in her defense, the actress did a really good job in that scene. I'm not saying she's a bad actress. She's just not fitting with me. She did a good job. But then, I mean, as Heather and Ronan kissed, just within the next breath, they kissed, and it was supposed to be passionate, and immediately after, Ronan just pushed her away. And while the scene was as good as it really could have been, I wasn't feeling it. I don't know. If it weren't for Ronan's hotness, I think there just would be nothing there at all. I think Ronan is the only thing holding this whole storyline together, you know? He's the only heat that there is. And I will say, too, that I do think that we, the audience, that is, we give Ronan a lot of leeway because he keeps getting involved with girls and then treating them like crap. And if it weren't for his illness and, you know, the fact that we understand that he doesn't want to get involved, and that's why he wants these women, but he doesn't want to get involved because he's sick. You know, if it weren't for that, we would be thinking that he was a major butthead. You know, I mean, now that we've got Chance being chested as a possible liver donor, is there any doubt that he will be a match? I mean, it's pretty obvious that Chance will be the match. You know, maybe we'll be able to see a different side of Ronan. We'll be able to actually see Ronan follow through with these relationships, and that will complete the puzzle for me. I'm wondering if we'll actually see John Driscoll back on the show as Chance. Is that possible? I'm wondering. And speaking of returns, you guys, I think it is always a pleasure to see Christine on the show, making her way into Genoa City. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Laura Lee Bell must be dipping her face in the fountain of youth every night before bed, because this woman has not aged a day. She looks exactly as she did when she left. She did it in her youth. It's ridiculous. The only bummer about it is that Christine has come back as such a square peg. I mean, Chris is all business this time around. She's all about business. Suddenly she is very high up in the FBI, and she's just, that's all that's on her mind. I would at least like to see her make out with someone again while she's in town. I don't know, maybe Nick. Anybody but Paul, because I have to say, it's been really nice seeing Paul support Nina. And I liked it, you know, when she was revealing to him the truth this week and he totally understood. And it's nice knowing that Paul is committed to her, because Nina, I just love her. She has played second fiddle when it comes to love for all her life. And even watching that whole awkward scene between Nikki and Paul at the Chancellor Mansion this week, it felt a little bit like Nina is consuming everyone else's throwaways. And I know that's hard, that's a mean thing to say, but I don't like feeling like Nina is always second banana when Nina is top banana in my book. And I really am very happy to see Paul standing by her side, steadfast, and knowing that she's the only one for him and that, you know, he's the only one for her. I love that Catherine just burst into Jill's room this week thinking that Colin was snoring away in there. That was a good scene. That was, again, comedy. Catherine, oh, she kills me. She has such great instincts about people. No one puts one over on the old KC, let me tell you. Of course, Jill likes to do anything to tick Catherine off. Jill likes Colin more just by the simple fact that Catherine hates him. Jill said to her after the burst-in, she said, you know, I like Colin more today than I did last night, and trust me, I liked him a lot last night. Oh, Jill. I love you, girl, but you've got to be one of the most easily duped people on the face of the earth when it comes to men. In business, she's as sharp as a tack, but she loses all of her senses when a charming guy comes onto the scene. And it's just, anyone else would find it highly suspicious that this new guy in town, who, whether it was serious or not, did time in jail. This guy is a convicted criminal. Everyone knows it. And not only that, but Kane, your son, went from loving Colin on Thanksgiving to hating him this week. Anybody else would find that suspicious, especially now that he asked her to marry him. Jill should know better than this, shouldn't she? She should know better than this, no question about it. And there's no question that Colin is shady. But in a way, I can't completely figure out what his angle is, because other than banging Kane's adoptive mom, Colin apparently, what he wants is for Kane to come back to Australia and work for him. I mean, it just seems like a long length to go to just for that. You know, I feel like there's a lot more to the story here, and that Y&R is just making it up as they go along. Yeah. So now we've learned that Kane has a sister named Samantha who died. And so not only does that increase the danger level, but it's causing yet another rift in Kane and Lily's relationship that always seems to have a rift in it. And of course, Blake is waiting in the wings, by the way, just waiting for Lily and Kane's relationship to fall apart so that he can be there to pick up the pieces with a fine bottle of wine. Now, Lily is totally offended that Kane never told her about his sister. It's yet again, he's not telling her things. And Although I don't know that that's so unforgivable, because my dad has a brother that we just found out about like a couple years ago. I'm 30, and me and my mom never knew that my dad had an extra brother. So I mean, in a way, that's not totally unforgivable in my book. But in the long run, it all just adds up to confusion and distrust. And I feel about this storyline the way that Lily feels about Kane. The more I know, the less I know. Okay, well, those are my thoughts for this week. I'm so glad that I was able to get them out, even if it is just in audio form, and it's late also. But hey, better late than never. And I will always try, by the way, to update if I'm not going, just at least to let you know if I'm not going to post anything. You can always go to also the website at yrchatblog.blogspot.com, and if I'm not going to be posting, or if there's any extraordinary circumstances, or if you just want to see what's on the site, you can go there and check up on me. Other than that, boy, I'm just looking forward to hearing what your comments are this week. It always makes my week to hear what you guys are thinking, and I'll be keeping my fingers crossed that you guys can give me some new perspectives that I've not yet considered. So, all right, that's it for me for now. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and hopefully I'm going to be back up and running. I'm like 90% back up and running. So I'm sure I will be back in full capacity next week, and I'll be looking forward to it. So I'll see you guys.